car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I'm going to feature a 69 Dodge Charger Daytona here, which this is a racing special built exclusively for NASCAR and top speed. Dodge was asking their engineers, after they were getting their butts beat with the 68 Charger, do what they can to make the car faster and more aerodynamically efficient. They knew there were some problems with the car. So they went to, with help from Creative Industries, they helped create the 69 Dodge Charger 500, which had the flush-mounted back window, the smooth A-pillar moldings to help reduce the air off of the windshield, and it had a flush-mounted Charger, or actually Coronet RT grille from 68 flush-mounted to it. And while that helped, it wasn't enough. So the engineers, they went back to the drawing boards trying to figure out what they can do to get that extra 5-mile-an-hour lap speeds. And they figured out if they did, what they would have to do, they would either need to get 85 more horsepower out of the Hemi engine, which was very difficult to do, or reduce drag by another 15% to get the top speed. And since the drag was easier to do, they come up with some ideas. They shared them, like, these are pretty drastic, and Dodge didn't care. They wanted to win. So like, all right, you know what, let's do it, we need to get these done. So they went ahead and pushed for it. And being that it was getting close to the 70 model year, they actually took the hood, and the fenders are actually from the 70 Charger, although modified a little bit, even though this is a 69 Charger, and they started with 69 Charger RTs. So because of that, there was only 2 engines available in the Daytona. One was the 426 Hemi, that was the optional, and the standard engine was the 440 Magnum. And only 2 transmission options. You got the 4-speed manual or the 727 TorqueFlite automatic. So that being said, that also dictated what rear end you had. Automatic equipped vehicles got the 8 3/4 rear end with 323 gears. 355s were optional. 4-speed cars, all the 4-speed cars got Dana 60s, and the standard gear was 354, but you could get the drag pack 410s in those. Quite a sturdy built car, but not a whole lot of options, but and very rare, as 503 of these were actually made, and I guess another 40 for Canada. So that's where the numbers get a little goofy, but 75 of those were Hemis. So the Hemis are very rare in these. No 446 packs. They weren't even available in the Charger at the time. And of the Hemis, 20 of those were 4-speed Hemis, which this one depicts. So I didn't quite build this completely out of the box, but Revell did a great job with researching this car and the options. But a couple other things. Hemis came with the 15-inch wheels, 14-inch wheels on the 440 cars, but you can upgrade. And I made a mistake. Here's a photo or two of my previous build. I actually put the recall wheels on it, which I thought were really cool. But I had found out, because of the earlier in the year recall of the 68, 69 recall wheels, they were not even available on the Daytona. They were long recalled before the Daytona was actually approved for production. So, and there are a couple of Daytonas running around restored that have them on there, because they look neat, which is where I'd got the idea looking at reference photos. But the cars featured, one of them was in Hemmings, was admittedly said he put the recall wheels on there because he thought they looked really cool, even though he knows that they were not produced on the Daytonas. So I had went back and put the Magnum 500s back on here when I had realized that, and I put redline tires. Pretty much redline and white line tires were available on it. And also the red stripe, very rare. Most of them got a black stripe or a white stripe depending on body color. But red stripe was available, but from my reading it was only available on white, black, or silver cars. And most of them would have the silver or the red interior, but not necessarily true. But I believe if you got the red stripe, most of them got like a red interior. Really, really, really cool car, and it did its job. Interestingly, they were done at Creative Industries. And they did the conversion. They put the nose cone and put the 70 Charger front sheet metal on it and did the modifications. And disc brakes was actually an option too. Most of them got it. but and put the wing on it, the flush mounted rear window, and the pillar moldings, but some of those were left over from the Charger 500. They did those modifications, so they were done off-site. What the Superbird was actually done in the warehouse, where the nose cone and the wing and some of the other parts for the Superbird were made off-site and painted off-site, but they were actually assembled in the Hamtramck warehouse. So these were our assembly plant. These were also built at Hamtramck only, but the conversion was done off-site, the rest of the conversion. But interestingly, Daytonas and Superbirds don't share a single part. Well, one exception, I'm sorry. But the nose cone is completely different. These scoops on the top of the fenders are different. The wing is actually different. A Superbird wing is at a different angle and a little bit taller than Daytona's. So none of the parts, and then the plug is completely different and the rear glass is completely different. But interestingly, this wing didn't have to be this tall to be as effective. The only reason it was this tall was to clear the trunk lid when it opens, because it kept the trunk hinges, but the trunk was cut shorter, but it was already figured out and engineered from the Charger 500. So all they did was add the wing and the bracing inside. And also interesting, the bracing inside created a moisture trap. These things were notorious for rusting out the rear windows, but since it's moved farther back, water would collect inside the trunk and then the seal, and it would drip down and get on the trunk floor. Well, there's a rubber mat there. The wing braces here held the rubber mat down. You couldn't pick it up because it was right on top of the rubber mat. So it made it harder to pull the rubber mat, and water would get trapped under there and rust the trunks out. So those were really known areas of rust. But the headlight buckets here, though, that's the only part that the Superbird and Daytona actually share, the actual headlight buckets. And there's the photo etch grill, and you can see the turn signals in there, which are also off of, I believe, the 69 Valiant used those. But very cool car and very rare car. Now, when it came to the model kit, this is the Revell kit, and this is the first version, which was the Pro Modeler version, and it came out in 1999. And I had missed it because I was not in the hobby at the time. I was out dating and everything. But once I got married in 2000 and moved into the house and started to settle down, and I got back into the hobby, I had found out about this car. Now, I had built previously one of the MPC ones, and here's a photo of that one here. But after I built this one, that one was destroyed for parts. But this one's a much better kit. And very nice kit. A little finicky to put together. The front tires are just a little too high. I never adjusted for that. And it's got, those are decals, but I believe it came with the photo etch emblems. It came with a really nice photo etch sheet. The grill here is photo etch. You have to fold it. And the hood pins are photo etched. One of them broke and I lost it. Some of the later kits don't quite, they have this piece in photo etch, but that's it. Nothing else in photo etch. But as I was kind of mentioning, I did do somewhat of an engine swap. The race version, because the first Pro Modeler version was 2-in-1, and it came with the Hemi engine, but the race version. So I had to swap the manifolds and the air cleaner from a 67 GTX kit to fit this application here. And it does kind of hit under the hood tightly, so this is a very tight fit. I had to shave some of it to get the air cleaner down, as the stock version is technically a 440. But it does have the 4-speed manual tranny, and it also has the Dana 60 rear end. Those are clearly done, so the whole underside is done really nice. These are a little hard and finicky to get glued in and get the chassis sucked up under there, so it's a little finicky getting those parts together, but if you get them in there, they fit really well. And don't glue this piece in before you paint, or you can glue this piece in after you paint and assemble. If you glue this to the body first, it makes it really hard to put together. So learn that the hard way on this one too. And I managed to pick up 2 more of the kits. As you know, this one at the time I built it in 2004. And once I found out about the wheels, I swapped the wheels out in about 2009. So this one's been around here for quite a number of years, but I enjoy it, and I do plan to build one more, do a 440 car pretty much right out of the box, exactly as it's built, and a different color combo. But I really like this black. It was really striking, and with the red decal. Decals were a pain, even though it was only 5 years old at the time. They're notorious for cracking. I have a very small crack here, but to make the red pop, I put the white decal down first, and then I put the red decal on top of it. Wing was painted separately and glued on later. But it came out pretty nice, and you can kind of see the letters don't quite line up very well, but they register fairly well, and then trimmed out. Some of these bezels right here for the marker light, some of them are painted stripe color and some are painted body color, so I wasn't 100% sure on what's accurate on that. But beautiful, beautiful car. And I really like the one that David Spade bought that hit the news a few years back, where he bought the one at auction for $900,000, a record price for it. But at the same time, it is one of the 20 Hemi 4-speed cars. It's also the lowest mileage car known to exist, with like 6,500 miles on it. And he was teased about it, and I thought it was funny because even Jay Leno had him on his show, where him and Jay Leno were driving one of David's cars, which was actually a Buick, 87 Buick Grand National. And pretty original car, but not restored as far as that one went. Jay Leno was teasing him about the Daytona, and he goes, I love the one in Joe Dirt. We had such a good time. It wasn't a real Daytona, but he had such a good time, and he loved that car, and he, kind of wanted one. And thanks to his movie career and everything, he was able to afford this one. But he said it's too nice. It's way too nice. He's afraid to drive it. He will drive it, but he's afraid to drive it because it's just that beautiful of a car. And the copper color is just striking, copper and black. So I've been eyeballing doing that one, or that color combo, in that 440 version. But I'll eventually get to doing another one of those. I haven't done any of these Revell Chargers in a while, although the 70 Charger is in my pile, and I really need to build one of those. I haven't done a 70 Charger in a really long time as well. But that'll do it for this episode. So thank you for tuning in and subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate it, and all of your shares. Really keeps me going and motivated, and I can show you something new every week, so every Saturday. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next Saturday.